Welcome back, storytellers. Today we're diving deep into the mysteries of the ocean, a place where the ordinary bends into the extraordinary and where the unknown waits patiently beneath the waves. Imagine this. A group of fishermen, their nets heavy with what they believe to be a shark, pull something from the water that defies explanation. It's not just unusual, it's otherworldly. And when experts arrive on the scene, their reactions only deepen the enigma. What did these scientists know that the fishermen didn't? And why was this discovery so profoundly important? Stay with me because this is a tale of curiosity, courage, and a creature that could rewrite history. Let's set sail into the story. Some fishermen worked together to bring in their nets, and when they finally pulled them out of the water, they were dumbfounded. At first they thought they caught a shark, but there in the net was the most bizarre sea creature they had ever seen. Moments later, some experts arrived on the scene and inspected the creature. You could clearly see that they knew more. The fishermen don't believe what they're hearing, let alone seeing what could this creature be. Why was it so important to these scientists, and what did they know that others didn't? But before we start our story, smash the like button, make sure to subscribe, and hit the notifications bell so you won't miss any new stories. The fishermen were simply lost for words. The fishermen had seen many things in their days, but nothing came close to this. The creature didn't make any sense. Its behavior was unusual, let alone the way it looked and sounded. They tried to understand, but simply failed to explain all this, yet they realized this was possibly history in the making, and they were responsible for it, and no one else. It blew their minds, especially after seeing the attitude of the scientists. It confirmed their expectations. This was groundbreaking. But what was this creature? Why did it cause so many scientists to be involved, and why did it leave everyone at the scene so shocked with just the three of them? Larry, Jamie, and Oliver are out on the ocean for another day of fishing. They took off even before dawn, as times were hard at the moment. They had some backlashes when it came to their catches and were forced to go deeper into the ocean to have a shot at a great catch. Larry and Jimmy, the owners of the ship, knew going deep into the ocean was something they needed to do. They had seen bad times before and understood the sacrifices that were needed. Oliver, on the other hand, being the youngest, had his doubts about being this far away from the coast, let alone when they'd run into a strange ocean creature. Their day started like all the others, not too many fish on the radars. As well as an unusual temperature in the seawater, they knew something was off as they were getting closer to the very reason for all this. Oliver was the first to spot something being as restless as ever. Oliver was constantly looking through the binoculars at one point quite far ahead. Oliver spots something. It's unusual in its shape and it's too far away to determine whether it's moving or not. Still, Oliver understands that something is strange about it. The veterans, Larry and Jamie, want to get closer. They want at least to get a better look at the creature, for one, because they're curious, and secondly, because they understand this creature could mean some income in these hard times. Oliver gets up and tells the men he thinks it's dangerous. He had a bad feeling about this trip all along, let alone now that they were this far away from the harbor and were coming close to some strange creature. But Larry and Jimmy laugh and tell Oliver that he needs to grow a pair. Poor Oliver. If only they had listened. They slowly approach the creature when Oliver realizes they're not taking his concerns into consideration. He retreats to the cabinet of the ship. He doesn't want anything to do with it and checks whether he has reception on his phone. Then he hears a loud sound coming from the deck. It's a scream coming from Larry. Oliver runs up and asks him what's going on. Larry doesn't answer, just points at the creature in the water. Oliver looks and sees how it's swimming away. It's enormous and has the skin of some ancient monster, but before Oliver knew it, the creature dove into deeper water. Jimmy doesn't hesitate. He decides to follow the creature. It's swimming away from them at great speed one moment. It was deep down the next. It was just around the water's surface. They don't believe their eyes. Jaime's attempt to follow it was working. They were closing in. Especially Jimmy and Larry are getting thrilled. They're convinced of this moment being a turning point in their lives. as this must be something truly miraculous. All, on the other hand, is fearing for their safety. This creature had the size to capsize their boat. They'd be way too far from the coast to be rescued. Oliver is not sure about this, but understands that he is not in charge of the ship. He simply has to follow orders. Still, he secretly sends out a signal from their cabinet, asking for help looking back. This would alarm people that shouldn't be involved. Oliver returns to the deck, planning on telling Larry and Jimmy about his signal this way. He wants to convince them to take it easy and not take any risks. But when he sets foot on the deck again, he runs into a terrible surprise, because Larry and Jamie lost the creature. They were so close to it, and now it was gone. Experienced as they are, they don't give up hope just yet. They run to the radar to check the environment, and sure enough, they make a pleasing discovery. The creature turned out to be still close to them. It simply dove down without getting further away from them. Larry, Jamie, and even Oliver are relieved, but now the fishermen had to make a decision. It was getting dark, and so they had. Either to go back to shore or sleep on their ship. They decide to spend the night in the ocean. Oliver doesn't agree, but his concerns don't matter to Jimmy and Larry. They decide on 3 different night shifts. One of them has to stay awake to watch the monitor and follow the movements of the creature. They were wise to do so, as this creature turned out to be quite unpredictable. The creature remains around the same area for most of the night until it starts moving in the early morning. Larry was watching the monitor at the time and quickly woke up Oliver and Jamie. For once, luck seemed to be on their side. The creature was going in the direction of the harbor. The creature swims even faster than it did the day before. They managed to keep up with it, and even Oliver is getting enthusiastic. Now the daylight alone gives him a sense of safety, let alone the idea of getting closer to the harbor. But was the harbor really a safe place, knowing who was waiting for them? As they're getting closer to the creature and trying to catch it, the fishermen see a bunch of ships waiting just outside the harbor. What could that mean in all these years on the ocean? They never saw this many ships just floating around like this. And this was just the beginning. Finally, their efforts are rewarded. They catch the creature, the fisher, and try to get it aboard, but are struggling due to its heavy weight. Still, they are getting a closer look at the creature and see what a miraculous animal it truly is. Unfortunately, they have little time to enjoy their catch. A large ship approaches them at great speed on it. There seem to be at least 8 or 9 men. They turn out to be scientists. They get on board moments after telling Larry, Jamie, and Oliver to stay put. They surround the creature, which is lying motionless in the net next to the ship. The scientists force the fishermen to keep their distance and don't do a thing. Larry doesn't agree and tries to argue, but gets pushed back right away. However, Larry, as well as Jimmy, making sure that the scientists understand that this creature is their catch. Then the scientists say something that blows their minds. The creature turned out to be an ancient animal that was believed to be extinct. It's groundbreaking, and the fishermen are rewarded for their actions. They never have to work again, and Oliver can finally afford to get a job he actually likes.